to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Hallelujah Ginger Tea drink and Hallelujah Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Hallelujah Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Hallelujah from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, with just 7 days to the end of June, of course, making today 23rd. Rise and shine, Good Morning Uganda is in the house, and we are definitely ready to be your morning coffee when you let us be that. Here to inform you, to give you all that you need to make sure we kickstart your Thursday. My name is Philomena Mastiko, and I am with Mollen, Kenyena, and Robert Kirabo, Nyonyintono. I must say right now, there is a lot happening in the country. I don't know whether it's only me or everybody else, but I feel like we are on a serious treadmill, Robert. I don't know why I'm getting this kind of feeling. I don't know whether it's maybe anxiety, but there is a lot happening. And I mean, that is why we are here to make sure that we help you catch up, just in case you're in a comfort zone. Maybe you just need to open your eyes, get out of your comfort zone and catch up with what is happening right now. Right from the teachers striking and being threatened. If they don't return to work, then they could stand a chance of losing their jobs. Imagine a scenario like that. And I'm talking about the arts teachers. For all we know, they have been kind of on a serious strike. And of course, the people on the losing end, when you look at it, are the students. Well, the public service has decided to give them a warning. You don't return to work on 23rd. Well, you, my dear, could be scrapped off the payroll. How are they going to take this? Well, we are here to find that out. Well, good morning, Robert. How are you doing on this Thursday? Like, do you feel, are we mutual on this feeling of anxiety and too much happening in the country, or I'm on this cup by myself?
No, there's really so much happening away from the fuel prices, then use and abuse of drugs or substances in this country is very, very high.
Yes.
Actually, this very week, police came out to talk about cookies, pancakes, you know, people that are taking advantage of these innocent souls. But also that when you look at what is happening in terms of how people are coping up.
Yes.
Philo, yesterday I took a walk downtown.
Yes.
Actually, I had gone there on purpose, journalistic purposes. And I want to tell you, most of the places that were dominated by business and there were beehives of activities, today you can be very disappointed. Try and go through Chikubu.
Yes.
You're going to be shocked. That seems, we must be very honest, people are running out of business.
Yes.
You would find shops closed. It would be very hard to find a stall in Chikubu if you wanted to rent. Today, you're finding empty, you're finding shops with padlocks.
Yes.
That was like when I went to Chiseka, people will tell you, a part of spare that was this cost, now it is ×3, you know? So I was like, hey people, we must, much as we may seemingly think things are fair and maybe statistics and all this will show this growth, that growth, but realistically, we must find a solution to the current situation.
You know, when you keep hearing the statistics and also giving people hope, Robert, it becomes different, okay? Because when you get on ground and you actually look at the kind of lifestyle people are living, the changes, I must say, they're very evident and they're not really taking an upward shift. But in this case, a downward shift. Good morning, Mollen.
Yes, a very good morning to you, Philomena and Robert. And of course, I want to say good morning to our viewers. Well, prices are rising everywhere. And Robert has talked about, people even closing their shops. But that is not the only area. Apparently, even drugs are getting expensive. Now, patients with sickle cell actually are crying to government for them to regulate the drugs for treatment of sickle cell, because it seems like this time the drugs are so expensive that most of them cannot afford, and these are the kind of diseases that if you're not getting the treatment that you need, you could actually die. So they are coming up to say, government, please help out with this, make sure that the drugs remain at least on the same prices that they have been getting them to. And I don't think it's only the sickle cell patients crying out, really, because it looks like even the drugs, normal drugs, the over-the-counter drugs that we have been getting are also, getting expensive. And this is worrying, because now, if the cost of treatment becomes that high, it means that we could be looking at a very devastating situation in the country, and that really worries me as well.
No, Mollen, you've talked about something that I'm very passionate about. I'm very concerned because I'm a victim of it. When you talk about sickle cells, I come from a family that is dominated by sickle cells. I'm a carrier. But one important thing I want to tell people is please go for premarital testing. That hurts, because it has ever hurt me so much.
Yes.
When the results came out and you weren't compatible, someone is a carrier, I'm a carrier, meaning we are going to give birth to a sickler. But it is important, when you do this premarital test and you find out that you have chances of giving birth to sicklers, you rather cancel your relationship. And counselors are there. So every year, over 20,000 babies are born with sickle cells. Anemia, 20,000 every year. And life of a person with sickle cells, I've seen people in my family, young kids who go for bone marrow transplant. We pay through their nose, we give almost everything to take these people for bone marrow transplant. I've seen those that we've not been able to, when they get attacks, they're called attacks, the pain they go through. I have cousins, I've had aunties, I have siblings, but that can all be avoided if you go for premarital testing, and it's very cheap. It's very cheap.
Yes. And it's really, really sad now that you talk about the genotype compatibility test, Robert. There are very many people who shun it. And I was having a conversation with a certain health worker not so long ago, and they was saying, as a parent, when you fail to go for a genotype compatibility test, it clearly puts you in a selfish bracket, because you are putting your future child at a risk. You are opening them up to this kind of a lot of pain and the attacks, like you said. So as a responsible parent, it doesn't make sense for you to be happy, but when your products are not happy, and I'm talking about your children, so make it a point to go and do that. But also, Robert and Mollen, I must say there's something interesting happening in Kenya, especially when it comes to their revenue body, the Kenya Revenue Authority. They have decided that their staff, especially in the domestic tax department, are going to start wearing body cams. Like how they do it in the US, to make sure that when they are operating, they can clearly see what's happening. They don't want any excuses, and also because of all these bribery cases that have been all over the place. No, that is a no for them. They have cancelled. They've decided our staff members are going to start wearing these body cams while they are operating, and when you take it off, you're going to give us a very clear explanation why you thought it was a wise idea for you to take off these body cams. I don't know, I was thinking maybe Uganda Revenue Authority should take up the same policy. What do you think?
First, the police traffic department.
Do we start with
Let's start with the traffic police. Or even this, because URA for Uganda's case, I think they have done a bit of cleaning here and there.
Yes.
When you look at how they used to oppress people, actually, previously everyone would want to work in URA. Today there is so much closing of these gaps because it wasn't of the huge salaries, but it was the opportunities you would get. So they have closed. But that area where things day by day seemingly are getting worse is police.
Yes.
If these traffic officers could have these things, If everywhere we could have this, I think with the police, for us start with the police. Kenya, you go with your...
In fact, you talk about police, I think it would have been ideal. You know, remember during the COVID times when we had limited movement, specific people to make movements on the roads. I think that should have been the ideal time for our police to wear those body cams.
You see,
But guys, let us be realistic. You guys as drivers, do you want those body cams on traffic police? Really? Yes. I think we might stand here and say, yes, we need that on traffic police. But I know a huge number of Ugandan drivers that would rather those cameras are not there. So I think let's take it down a little bit. But when you talk about URA, that is something that I think should be taken up. We do acknowledge that they have done a lot. They have done a lot with cleaning up, and of course a lot of systems are working. However, this is the one good thing that could come with it. Because guess what? There is still a lot of corruption and bribery in URA. I'll say that. Because we know that there is a lot going on, and that could actually help us find out. And of course that has to also deal with administration, because whoever is monitoring that needs to be also on the good side.
You see, one of the things our revenue body did was to digitalize or do things electronically. That previously there was so much of dealing with human-to-human contact.
Yes.
Now Uganda Revenue Authority came up with all ways of where you pay your tax, your things are valued without presence.
Yes.
But for the traffic, there is no way you can carry on work where it's just electronically. Maybe if you have so many cameras, the camera finds you. But Uganda's addresses, you know, even locating someone using a Google map, some homes, some places are hard to do that.
Well, another category that I believe needs these body cams, the customs and border post people over there. They need these body. We need to emulate Kenya Revenue Authority, in other words, because most Ugandan sectors
but us we even have a lot of porous borders.
Yes.
I'll tell you, some of us are people from the border community. If I want to cross into Uganda, when I'm coming from Tanzania, where you have uncles, you have aunties, we have even gardens we go through. Gardens, and okay, so
and you still want these people to carry body cams.
We shall get the ones that we shall get.
To say, let me use the official border.
That would be there as an official
during
thing, but
COVID,
you will also be affected.
What blasted us was only during COVID.
Yes.
Because now, for those people at the border, they understood COVID very well, and they knew Tanzania by then they were not very. So even if you had this capanya of yours, people would report you because they thought you're coming along with what? With COVID. But before COVID, it was a smooth sailing. It is up to you to choose if you go through the border point or you go through the ordinary. You have aunties, uncles, gardens, and all this.
One time you think you're making progress as a country, and then there is always a plan B from the public. It's just very frustrating. Sometimes I really feel so bad for the administrators, for people in these managerial positions, because as you're thinking hard to make sure that you put things in order, I must say that the netizens are also cooking up ideas to counter what you're actually coming up with. So, I mean, to the administrators...
Remember the street governors? The police was sure only these things were tampered with the Ugandans.
Everybody is trying to cook up something. Everybody is trying to survive at the end of the day. But I mean, I'm pretty sure there will be a time when we are all in the clear. Whether we are still alive, whether it will be for the future generations, I am that optimistic. I have hope in the future. I don't know whether Mollen and Robert over here do, but I promise I will encourage them, especially Robert here.
Now, my question to you is simple.
Give a lot of encouragement.
You have hope in the future, but you see, you can only give what you have.
Yes.
The current generation, day by day, we are experiencing moral decadence. Morals are draining. Today, a father will speak a word when the child is there and is comfortable. A mother will make a phone call when the daughter is listening. A mother will tell her daughter, I can't tell this, I'm sick, I'm not there. You know that thing where a child came and the child, Tata Agambe Tari, you're teaching this young kid to lie and he knows it is okay. So who is going, that generation you're talking about, who is going to go?
Well, there is a lot indeed that is happening, informal, formal. I mean, that is why you need to be with us here right here in Good Morning Uganda. But also, it's very, very essential that we take you through some of our news stories and you catch up. Like I'm telling you, Uganda tambulira ku speed kati. So you need to catch up on all these stories just in case you miss out on our bulletins right here on UBC. And starting off with some of the local news, Robert.
Well, we begin with the ongoing preparations for the Commonwealth Heads of Meeting in Rwanda, where yesterday Prince Charles of Wales he's in Rwanda, Kigali, to represent the Queen of England, Elizabeth, to the Commonwealth Summit. Yesterday visited the Genocide Memorial and the final resting place for the victims of the Rwanda genocide. Prince Charles was accompanied by the Duchess of Cornwall. Prince Kamala also interacted with survivors and perpetrators of the Rwanda genocide. In 1994, Hutu extremists in Rwanda targeted minority ethnic Tutsi and moderate Hutus in a 3-month killing that left an estimated number of about 800,000 people dead, though the locals put the figure higher. In the basement below the church, which today stands as a memorial to the 1994 genocide, the skulls of unidentified Tutsi men are suspended above the coffin of a woman from the same ethnic group who died following an attack on this church. Attackers targeted churches like this one on the outskirts of the capital Kigali. More than 10,000 people were killed here over 2 days, according to the memorial's manager, Rachel Morekatete. A mass grave behind the building is the final resting place of more than 45,000 people from the surrounding areas killed in violence. Prince Charles appeared visibly moved as he was shown around the church grounds, where even now bodies discovered elsewhere are being brought, as the former attacker identified other graves as part of the reconciliation process that began in 1990.
Away from that, government has issued an ultimatum to the striking arts teachers up to the 24th of this month to go back to class or else be disregarded as government employees. Now, the Minister of Public Service, Wilson Mururi Mukasa, was officiating at the 11th African Public Service Day at Koro Ceremonial Grounds. He appealed to the teachers to be considerate of the current struggling economy. African Public Service Day is an event entrenched in the African Union calendar. It originates from the Conference of the African Ministers for Public and Civil Service held in Tangier, Morocco in 1994. It was agreed at this conference that 23rd June should be celebrated annually as African Public Service Day to recognize the value and virtue of services to the community. It is also a platform to reflect and share practical recommendations on women empowerment in public service nationally and across the continent. Now, this year's APSD was celebrated under the theme, The Role of Public Administration in Building and Sustaining Peaceful Coexistence Among Communities. The Pan-African ministers agreed that 23rd June of every year should be celebrated as APSD through the annual national and the biennial continental events as part of the continental strategy to boost public administration programs. Now, public sector performance and governance, as well as recognize the value and virtue of service to communities.
Well, away from that, now we move to court, where Buganda Road Magistrates Court, before Magistrate Asumani Muhumuza yesterday charged the former Uganda Airlines boss, Conwell Moleya, with 1 count of disobedience of the Inspectorate of Government. Conwell Moleya, who pleaded not guilty to the alleged offense, was later released on a cash bail of 1.5 million. Prosecution led by Rogers Chinobe informed court that the inquiries in this matter are almost done. Conwell Moleya was represented by counsel Charles Nsubuga. Prosecution alleges that between May and June this very year, Conwell Moleya wrongfully and without reasonable justification refused to comply with an order of the Inspectorate of Government following investigations on the mismanagement of public funds and recruitment of staff at Uganda Airlines Entebbe. Court will resume on the 25th of this very month and year formation of the case.
Well, still in court, prosecution has asked court to dismiss Mohamed Segirinya and Alan Sewanyana's bail application, citing that the application was wrongly filed in this court. Mohamed Segirinya and Alan Sewanyana filed a petition in this court asking it to grant them bail, following the lower court's decline to grant them bail on murder and terrorism. MPs Mohamed Segirinya and Alan Sewanyana will wait to hear their fate of the bail application on the 29th of June. Now, this is after their lawyers Arias Lukwago and Ladislaus Rakafuzi told the Court of Appeal that they have exhausted all avenues for bail application for their clients.
Now, crossing over across the African continent, and we start off with the death toll from a powerful earthquake in Afghanistan that has climbed to 1,000. With more than 1,500 others wounded, according to the Taliban's the Culture and Information Department, as rescuers try to reach the site of the disaster in report Paktika and Khost provinces. The United States Geological Survey said the magnitude of the earthquake in the early hours of Wednesday was 5.9, revising an initial estimate of 6.1. The epicenter of the tremor was about 46 kilometers, that is about 27 miles from the city of Khost, near the Pakistani border, according to the USGS. People are digging grave after grave, said Muhammad Amin Huzaifa, head of the Information and Culture Department in hard-hit Paktika. It is raining also, and all houses are destroyed. People are still trapped under the rubble, he told journalists. Earlier, Interior Ministry official Salahud Ayubi earlier said the death toll was likely to rise as some of the villages are in remote areas in the mountains, and it will take some time to collect details. Yaqub Manzoor, a tribal leader from Paktika province, said survivors were mobilizing to help those affected. Now, 8 medical personnel are to stand trial accused of criminal negligence in the death of legendary Argentinian footballer Diego Maradona. A judge has ordered a culpable homicide trial after a medical panel found Maradona's treatment was rife with deficiencies and irregularities. Maradona died in November 2020 of a heart attack in Buenos Aires, aged 60. He had been recovering at home from surgery on a brain blood clot earlier that month. A few days after his death, Argentine prosecutors launched an investigation into the doctors and nurses involved in his care. Maradona's extraordinary life in pictures obituary Argentina's flawed football icon. Now, last year, the panel of 20 experts appointed to examine his death found Maradona's medical team acted in an inappropriate, deficient and reckless manner. It also concluded that the footballer would have had a better chance of survival with adequate treatment in an appropriate medical facility, according to the court ruling. Now, crossing over to the DR Congo, a tooth belonging to murdered Congolese independence leader Patrice Lumumba has arrived back in the Democratic Republic of Congo and is being taken on a tour of his homeland. It is all that remains of the country's first prime minister, who was assassinated back in 1961 by rebels in collusion with Belgian mercenaries, and his body dissolved in acid. The tooth will first go to the town of his birth, named Lumumbaville, in his honor, then to Kisangani, where he started his political activism, and then to Lubumbashi, where he was killed. A coffin containing the tooth will finally be laid to rest in the capital, Kinshasa, on the eve of Independence Day next Thursday.
In weather and climate news, scientists say climate change is a factor behind the erratic and early rains that triggered unprecedented floods in Bangladesh and northeastern India, killing dozens and making lives miserable for millions of others. Although the region is no stranger to flooding, it typically takes place later in the year when monsoon rains are well underway. Now, this year's torrential rain lashed the area as early as March, and it takes much longer to determine the extent to which climate change played a role in these floods. But scientists say that it has made the monsoon, a seasonable change in weather usually associated with strong winds, more variable over the past decades. This means that much of the rains expected to fall in this year are arriving in a space of weeks. The northeastern India state of Meghalaya received nearly 3 times its average June rainfall in just the first 3 weeks of the month, and neighboring Assam received twice its monthly average in the same period. Several rivers, including one of Asia's largest, flow downstream from the 2 states in the Bay of Bengal in the low-lying Bangladesh, a densely populated delta nation.
I would really want to be part of the people who would want to say the final goodbyes to Patrice Lumumba. I mean, it's quite interesting, and I love the fact that most of these the country gems are being brought back, aside from having the tooth of this great nationalist. If I remember my history well, he was one of the greatest African nationalists we've had. So having only his tooth and making sure that, you know, they take him round before they finally put him to rest. I mean, this should be very interesting. Maybe I need to find my way to the DR, and probably I'll bring the news to you.
Well, one thing I think we pick a lesson from this is,
yes,
we all live, we all die. But what legacy have you left behind? Are you to that level that even after years your tooth can attract the current leadership to say we need to bring and bury this person, give them a decent burial, give what we can come across?
Yes.
And the public is excited, they are willing. Oh, are you this person? They will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. That this person has finally come to an end.
You know, being a hero and, you know, fighting for your country, standing up for your country, that is something that is nationalistic, and I think his remains, there remains to be celebrated in that kind of way. It just shows you how much that legacy is. We are living in an era where people no longer really care about their countries. You're like, I'll not die for my country. But that's the kind of legacy you stand to leave, you know, behind after you're gone. And people are going to still celebrate you and your name. Yeah.
Well, when we get back to what is happening on the Ugandan ground, when we look at statistics right now, the number of COVID-19 patients that we have registered in June is actually way higher than the number we had the last month in May. So clearly, you know that this requires a lot, especially from we as individuals. And aside from SOPs, making sure that we follow them, there is also what we call vaccination, just in case you do not know anything about this. And we have all these vaccines that are ideally put out by the Ministry of Health to make sure that you are in a great health state. But Ugandans, on one hand, they will take one dose, on the other hand, they will not do anything. And this morning, what we want to find out from you is what should be done to increase the number of COVID-19 vaccinations. What should be done to increase the number of COVID-19 vaccinations? As always, you can use the hashtag UBCGMU to get to us with your feedback, and you can also send us an SMS text or a WhatsApp message. The number is 0709 602 592. We need to mobilize, we need to hear from you, we need to get suggestions from you, because we really don't want to get back in that era where we were under a very strict lockdown. That I'm absolutely sure is not where we want to head back again. Well, speaking of COVID, definitely it comes with boosting your health, and I know that Robert is very passionate about this.
Well, don't wait for no jab, no job. Please go and get that vaccination, because the only way your immune system will be boosted. However, there are also these darlings. That is, hallelujah, jingati, hallelujah, tamarind. When I look at this bottle, I even feel excited. Reason being, they'll save you that huge amount of money that you're going to spend on treatment. And second, that inconvenience of your body not feeling fine. You know, you're less productive when you're sick. So at just 1,500, you get this bottle. And I recommend regular use of these products. I want to guarantee you, you will save so much. Mollen has just talked about how expensive treatment has become. So save those monies, invest them in better things by simply spending 1,500 a day on your health. Thank me later.
Well, today is a Thursday. It's all about nostalgia. We are throwing it back a little to the good old days, and that you will definitely see in our motivational song for this Thursday morning. When we get back, of course, we'll be having the newsreel where we'll be talking about the teachers, the arts teachers who have been given an ultimatum of you either go back to school to teach, or your name could be scraped off the payroll. If you are in their place, what would you do? The discussion I'll be having, of course, with Robert Kirabo, Nyonyintono, and I'll be taking you to the roads much later on, right after the press review, to see what's making the headlines in our papers. And after that, Mollen will be in to give you more from the climate news and the weather forecast for the most part of this Thursday. Do not forget, we do have the GMU agenda queued up as well, and some sports updates definitely right here on Good Morning Uganda, so you do not have any reason as to why you shouldn't be with us. We're streaming live on YouTube, so you can catch up with all the details that you've missed and those that we are yet to unveil to you. Good Morning Uganda will return right after this.
Live from UBC's
June, of course, making today 23rd. Rise and shine. Good Morning Uganda is in the house, and we are definitely ready to be your morning coffee when you let us be that. Here to inform you, to give you all that you need to make sure we kickstart your Thursday. My name is Philomena, Mastiko, and I am with Mollen, Kenyena, and Robert Kirabo, Nyonyintono. I must say right now, there is a lot happening in the country. I don't know whether it's only me or everybody else, but I feel like we are on a serious treadmill, Robert. I don't know why I'm getting this kind of feeling. I don't know whether it's maybe anxiety, but there is a lot happening. And I mean, that is why we are here to make sure that we help you catch up, just in case you're in a comfort zone. Maybe you just need to open your eyes, get out of your comfort zone, and catch up with what is happening right now. Right from the teachers striking and being threatened. If they don't return to work, then they could stand a chance of losing their jobs. Imagine a scenario like that. And I'm talking about the arts teachers. For all we know, they have been kind of on a serious strike, and of course the people on the losing end, when you look at it, are the students. Well, the public service has decided to give them a warning. You don't return to work on 23rd, well, you, my dear, could be scrapped off the payroll. How are they going to take this? Well, we are here to find that out. Well, good morning, Robert. How are you doing on this Thursday? Like, do you feel, are we mutual on this feeling of anxiety and too much happening in the country, or I'm on this cup by myself?
No, there's really so much happening away from the fuel prices, then use and abuse of drugs or substances in this country is very, very high.
Yes.
Actually, this very week, police came out to talk about cookies, pancakes, you know, people that are taking advantage of these innocent souls. But also that when you look at what is happening in terms of how people are coping up.
Yes.
Philo, yesterday I took a walk downtown.
Yes.
I had gone there on purpose, journalistic purposes. And I want to tell you, most of the places that were dominated by business and there were beehives of activities, today you can be very disappointed. Try and go through Chikubu.
Yes.
You're going to be shocked. That seems, we must be very honest, people are running out of business.
Yes.
You would find shops closed. It would be very hard to find a stall in Chikubu if you wanted to rent. Today, you're finding empty, you're finding shops with padlocks.
Yes.
That was like when I went to Chiseka, people will tell you, a part of spare that was this cost, now it is ×3, you know? So I was like, hey people, we must, much as we may seemingly think things are fair and maybe statistics and all this will show this growth, that growth, but realistically, we must find a solution to the current situation.
You know, when you keep hearing the statistics and also giving people hope, Robert, it becomes different, okay? Because when you get on ground and you actually look at the kind of lifestyle people are living, the changes, I must say, they're very evident, and they're not really taking an upward shift, but in this case, a downward shift. Good morning, Mollen.
Yes, a very good morning to you, Philomena and Robert. And of course, I want to say good morning to our viewers. Well, prices are rising everywhere, and Robert has talked about, you know, people even closing their shops. But that is not the only area. Apparently, even drugs are getting expensive. Now, Patients with sickle cell actually are crying to government for them to regulate the drugs for treatment of sickle cell, because it seems like this time the drugs are so expensive that most of them cannot afford, and these are the kind of diseases that if you're not getting the treatment that you need, you could actually die. So they are coming up to say, government, please help out with this, make sure that the drugs remain at least on the same prices that they have been getting them to. And I don't think it's only the sickle cell patients crying out really, because it looks like even the drugs, normal drugs, the over-the-counter drugs that we have been getting are also, you know, getting expensive. And this is worrying, because now if the cost of treatment becomes that high, it means that we could be looking at a very devastating situation in the country, and that really worries me as well.
No, Mollen, you've talked about something that I'm very passionate about. I'm very concerned because I'm a victim of it. When you talk about sickle cells, I come from a family that is dominated by sickle cells. I'm a carrier. But one important thing I want to tell people is please go for premarital testing. You know, that hurts, because it has ever hurt me so much.
Yes.
When the results came out and you weren't compatible, someone is a carrier, I'm a carrier, meaning we are going to give birth to a sickler. But it is important when you do this premarital test and you find out that you have chances of giving birth to sicklers, you rather cancel your relationship. And counselors are there. So every year, over 20,000 babies are born with sickle cells. Anemia, 20,000 every year. And life of a person with sickle cells, I've seen people in my family, young kids who go for bone marrow transplant. We pay through their nose, we give almost everything to take these people for bone marrow transplant. I've seen those that we've not been able to, when they get attacks, they're called attacks, you know.
Yeah.
The pain they go through. I have cousins, I've had aunties, I have siblings, you know. But that can all be avoided if you go for premarital testing, and it's very cheap. It's very cheap.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's really, really sad now that you talk about the genotype compatibility test, Robert. There are very many people who shun it. And I was having a conversation with a certain health worker not so long ago, and they was saying, as a parent, when you fail to go for a genotype compatibility test, it clearly puts you in a selfish bracket, because you are putting your future child at a risk. You are opening them up.
Was brought to you by Show them Waka with MTN Mama Nyabo. Simply deposit 20K or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
Affordable packages, great entertainment,
Sports, the local content, telenovela, the movies.
there is something for everybody.
Everybody,
Go TV,
this is where great stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Uganda shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Indeed, welcome to this very special segment that is the newsreel at 7 minutes after 7 a.m. My name is Philomena Mastiko, and I am in the company of Robert Kirabo. Nyonyintono, we want to dissect this issue that has been going on concerning teachers now, sciences and arts teachers. We seem to fight a war that we are not yet able to finish. You finish one section and another one is coming up continuously. Well, this is what we'll be looking at, especially in line with the arts teachers. But before we get into that, just to remind you of our poll question this morning, where we would really love to hear from you, especially when it comes to increasing the number of people going for vaccination for COVID-19. And like we said, COVID-19 cases are really high, but we want to know, What should be done to increase the number of COVID-19 vaccinations? What do you think should be done to increase the number of COVID-19 vaccinations? Hashtag UBCGMU, and you can use the number on the screen to send us your feedback, your thoughts, and your 2 cents and suggestions. They're all very welcome. We'll be sharing them with the rest of the Good Morning Uganda community. But getting back to the topic of discussion this morning, Robert, I must say right now the arts teachers are they're not exactly excited about what's happening. Now, we heard or we saw that yesterday the public service had to come in and intervene in the strike that the arts teachers had decided to go. This was about a month ago under their umbrella body, that is the UNATU. They decided to go on strike for reasons they termed as discriminatory in line with salary payments. Now, not so long ago, we saw science teachers doing the same, striking because they wanted salary enhancements from the government. And it seems their issues had to bear fruits after we saw the budget being read earlier on this month. Now, arts teachers believe that this was very unfair for them because these are all teachers, they're all in the education institution and they are all educating the nation. But you cannot afford to increase salary of one section of the teachers and you leave out the rest. Now, they have put very many reasons and across the table, and maybe even what ideally I would call tangible solutions. But public service has come in to respond that yes, they do understand the amount of pressure, but they also understand the value and they would really want to cater to all their needs. But at this given moment, they don't have enough resources to cater for the arts teachers, meaning that they may have to wait a little bit longer. This is not sitting well with the arts teachers. And they gave them, an ultimatum. I would call it a bombshell. You either return to work on 23rd or you risk being scraped off the payroll. You resign, you leave this role, you leave your job. We could get some other teachers. Now, Robert, when you get a directive like this as a teacher or, as a student, I would just want to hear from you. What would this mean for an arts teacher right now, even for a student? Because at the end of the day, when all this happens, students are on the losing side. Whether they are science students, whether they are arts students, you're the one who's going to lose. So what does this mean to these two categories of people?
I'll begin by saying these words, and I want to be quoted very well in case someone is to do that. Teachers are not casual bearers, where you want them to move this bottle from here and put it here. Bano si basituzi ba migugu. Tuyagala omugugu bagugye wano baguteeke wali. Because that if you use force, you still achieve. You get it?
Yes.
If casual bearers on your site, many of us have built or constructed something, and you tell them atayagala kola tambula ove wano nze mbawa ssente ezo. You know what you need from them? It's something physically you can assess. Yeah, that they have mixed sand, cement, they are building.
Yes.
You need this man, his role is give bricks to someone who is at another level of building. So with that, you can monitor very well. But you see, teachers, why I say they're not casual bearers, is they can be present but absent. And you may not quantify what they have done.
Yes.
You can tell teachers go back to class, if not lose your jobs. They will be in class. But them being in class may not reflect their teaching.
Yes.
So we have to be very careful that a teacher may choose to say, I don't want to lose my job. Let's go back to class. But are they going to teach? Or are we going to have just their presence? That is one. Two, to the teachers. We went through COVID-19, where our dear teachers, you were not teaching. Yes, you never invited COVID-19. But government continued giving you salary without any reduction, no matter what the earnings, the situation was. Your colleagues in private had issues. Many of them, we saw them stooping low as brick making, not saying that it is bad. Riding borders, flying chapati, doing all this. You, in public service, you still got your salary. So, we must balance these, that you must be considerate that there are these challenges, but also government and those in authority must know that these are not cows that let me beat and take them. Even a cow, you can take it to, or a horse to drink water, to arrive at the stream and never take water. Now, going back what this means to the teachers. First, we must understand that teachers want to work. Yes? But they are saying what we are getting is very little, given what is happening. If you're giving some teacher like 560,000, they have rent, they have this, they have that. However, there is what they have always referred to as the collective bargaining agreement of 2018.
Yes.
That they sat, they agreed, even the person who issued the directive was in that meeting by then. And they said, let's have a systematic way of salary enhancement. Let's follow this process so that at the end of the day, we all feel we've benefited from this.
Yes.
That overtime was not respected. All we had the challenges, all there was lack of proper explanations, so they have that. Now also, to their disappointment, that their colleagues in the arts fraternity, government wants to enhance sciences.
Yes.
And I believe in this. The world, there's so much science we need where we are today. Maybe compared to, because countries are every day, we are coming up with new problems and they are better solved by people in the science field.
Yes.
But to their shock is, if you thought of teachers, the collective bargain agreement was never that sciences alone. You come to a science teacher, you're giving them. We have about 185,000 teachers in public service. These, believe, would be looked at without discrimination.
Yes.
Or if any, then the disparities, salary disparities, would be very minimal. You know?
Yes.
An arts teacher, what they're saying, maybe if just giving, let's have, maybe if you said a 20-20 increment, but if this one has been earning maybe 560, 20%, increase that by 20%. The scientists, maybe say sciences, increase by 30%. Because they also agree, teaching sciences, teaching arts, may all be teaching, but there could be a bit of more research, more that, compared to this one, which is more theoretical and all that. Though you can't teach sciences you can't teach chemistry in chemistry, you have to teach in English, biology in biology. So there are two issues that now are at table, that are the disparities, the collective bargain agreement. That's why you saw that their strike began on the 15th when the budget was read on the 14th.
Yes.
Because they were very clear that now we've been left out unless we do what it takes, unless we create pressure. But like I said, this is where there is a problem. What happened to the collective bargaining agreement in a period of 5 years that they had calculated? Maybe these sectors would be catered for. And then this discrimination they see as discriminatory. That you have, they now, a science teacher is different from an arts teacher.
Yes.
You know, if monies are not there, how come these ones you got their monies? But teachers also must know, and even the public must know, that salary is a recurring expenditure. Recently, government allocated, that is 495 billion for salary enhancement.
Yes.
This will include the allied workers. This will include the nurses, hopefully.
All the scientists, including these teachers. Yes.
But I want to tell fellow Ugandans, every time you enhance salary, that means that money is not a one-off. Now in our budget, calculate that there always has to be that 495 billion for salary. You know? And what happens when you recruit more people? There is no turning back. This is not that you want to construct a road and it is a one-off expenditure.
Yes.
It has to be there continuously. Now, when government says we do not have the money right now,
yes,
I want to believe there is still room for dialogue, you get it, than coming up with directives. Yes, it could be frustrating, but let's focus more on dialogue. Let's make find a way of, if it means commitment, like the allied workers the science teachers were saying, at least pen a commitment.
Yes.
That government shows that, yes, maybe you can assure you that this
It's some
financial
sort of
year,
assurance that we are going
you're
to put
out.
into consideration. Yes.
Serious commitment. Not we shall see when situations, serious commitment that next financial year we are going to look at this, that so that they go back knowing that this is happening. But as of now, I really feel that these arts teachers,
Yes.
even if they bow down to the demand and go back to class, they may not be productive.
Yes. They may not yield as many results as...
You know,
or as-
motivation.
yeah.
Work has motivation. I told them to laborers. That stool on which take a wali and you see that this thing has been lifted from here, it is being put there. Then also finally, Philo, we must understand these people went through COVID. Much as they were being paid, many learned other methods of hustling to make ends meet. So the threats to many, some could have had alternative sources of earning, where they are no longer depending entirely on teaching, because schools were closed. And what would happen, much as I was coming, through schools they had other ways of earning. So they knew this could be a danger to the teaching profession.
Well, it's really very sad to see that we are having such intense issues, especially when it comes to education. I mean, education is very key to any nation. Now, when we talk about arts teachers, definitely there's also a rift that is believed to have been created between the science and arts teachers. Now, what is building up to this rift is mainly because the arts teachers seem to listen and they understand that right now there is no budget for them, because we are already into the next financial year, and you don't just get to create a side pocket or a side bag for another group of people. So the argument is maybe you need to revise, okay, the salary fractions that you gave to the arts, rather the science teachers. Maybe you can cut out a certain amount of fees that you can add on to our salaries as arts teachers, as we await for the, you know, the overall plan you have for us as arts teachers. Now, Robert, imagine you are a science teacher, I'm an arts teacher, and I mean, we have seen all the struggles you've been going through to get to where you are right now, because you expect probably 3 million from probably the 700,000 Uganda shillings you are getting, or the 800,000 Uganda shillings you are getting, and now you have your salary cut to contribute to another arts teacher. Ideally, because they're all in the same institution, you would believe that this is going to probably they'll be considerate and understand the pains that their fellow teachers are going through, but this is not sitting with them so well. But also, I just wanted to know from you, is this really a practical move? Is this something that can actually yield results? That is, if it actually goes through, do you think science teachers would be in a place to say yes to that?
Recently, I think it was last week, they held a press conference and they were clearly and totally against their mother body. Actually, the science teachers came up with their own body. When this issue of salary enhancement for science teachers began, the body that is UNATO came out clearly and said, no, for us to look at embracing salary enhancement for all teachers. Let this approach not be discriminatory. Now what happened? They said, look at our body. It is fighting against us. Who is it serving? We have an opportunity for salary enhancement, and they are saying, if it is to look at only science teachers, please do not give these people money. Look at a wholesome approach for all teachers. They even have now a body, a chairperson. They held a press conference and attacked UNATO, saying, who is UNATO fighting for? We are the teachers, we are the members. This chance is coming our way, and you're saying no. Second, after Saturday's meeting, I'm reliably informed that the Minister for Finance was asked to revise the fraction of science teachers in this budget allocation of that is 495 billion. That will revise the portion given to science teachers for that salary enhancement to see what does this mean. This could either mean that you deduct a portion, and when you're looking for monies, how best you can give to cater for the arts and other humanities, or maybe they can come out and say, well, even if we did that, these teachers are so many, it will be a drop in an ocean and still will not live to the desired. Either leave them completely, or there are even those that are talking about a supplementary budget. But this rift is not healthy for the profession. And why I'm saying this is because now a graduate arts teacher, according to this, is going to be earning 4 million Uganda shillings. This science teacher sits in the same staff room with an arts teacher who maybe is earning 800 or 1.1, supervised by a headmaster who is earning 1.5. Another superior is the district education officer who is earning 2.5. This is a teacher. So supervision, even with this kind, remember when we were in school, we had this issue, sciences, then arts.
Yes.
Even at student level, where maybe these would feel they are more superior, they are more bright, they are more intelligent, you get it, compared. But in some schools, it would go to the extreme. Even they would isolate and discriminate each other. So we do not want to see this come to the teaching profession.
Yes.
We do not want to see this come to the teaching profession. So already when you see a union split into two, that is not good.
A union that is expected to serve two, you know, masters.
You have Vincent, I think it's Vincent Elogo, something like that, attacking Philbert, who are you advocating for? We cease to be members. You need to fight for our rights. You're not doing this. That is not healthy. And it's going to trickle down to school administration.
Yes. Because imagine a scenario where a science teacher earns a higher salary than a headmaster, who is probably an arts teacher. How? These people are ungovernable. They are putting them in a situation where they're ungovernable. I get more money than you. I earn my 4 million. This is what I take at home.
We are priority. We are government
yes,
priority.
you cannot tell me anything. Is this a situation we are yet to see?
And also it is connected to IQ, you know, who are more bright than you people are. So you find it is a complicated situation.
Yes.
That government has to really sit down and see, one, how do we, even if we fail to raise these monies? Because what if government fails? That's the question I was having at the back of my mind. Government says completely we cannot have this money right now.
Yes, we don't have
this
this
teachers
money
going to close
budgeted.
schools and move out? You know, are we going to have these schools that now there are no teachers teaching because government has said no? Or they are going to bring themselves peacefully and willing, we can't sustain this and come back and teach? You know, that is something we must know. If government says, if government, finally if they succumb to the demand of government and say we are going back to classes, is this going to be teaching? Already in some of these public schools, these arts teachers,
yes,
you find there is no meaningful teaching.
Going on. Absenteeism has become absenteeism.
Because they are referring to low pay. We have a teacher who will come, then ride a border, then fish, then do that. You know, these schools and fishing sites. My teacher. So now, if that has been the situation without coerciveness, what then will be with coerciveness?
Well, our poll question, what should be done to increase the number of COVID-19 vaccinations, is definitely running over there on our socials. Just rush over there and engage. But as we're coming to a conclusion to this, Robert, just in a situation like this, what do you think should be done in just a few words? What could be able to relieve this situation? Because there is quite so much tension between the teachers and their fellow teachers, arts and science teachers, government and teachers. So what do we do?
I'm not an economist.
Yes.
I'm not a staff of Ministry of Finance. And I don't know very well if we have this money or we don't have this money. I'm confused also. I don't know if we have the money for the arts teachers and the humanities or we don't have the money. But I'm going to speak at a neutral point. One, we must remove force from this because teachers are not casual workers. Assessing if they are teaching or they are not may be hard. And therefore, even if they choose to go back and teach, because of fear to lose their jobs, their outcome, their levels of productivity, may not deliver education. See, teaching is not just physical appearance in class.
Yes.
It has the body, it has the mind, it has the willingness to teach. That is one. Two, if it is possible, maybe we look for these monies. I don't recommend touching on the enhancement of science teachers to facilitate arts teachers. That is not going to create any fertile ground. That rift may be dangerous. And finally, if all has failed, we don't have the monies, this person saying, let's have better organized dialogues and commitment. Commitment. That, well, if these financial things are refused, this is a letter, this is proper commitment. And teachers can understand and go back and teach. Finally, our dear teachers, it is the child of the poor that is suffering. You have a noble education is a right. These children of the people you think are making decisions are not affected in any way because they are not in these schools. So, it is the child of the less privileged Uganda that you're hurting. Let's know teaching is a call. It is a call. And let's go for this noble cause.
Well, thank you so much, Robert, for that. But we also have something coming in from Derek here. He's saying, good morning, family. It's quite challenging in this current situation where people are depressed with inflation and high levels of poverty. Psychologically, people are tortured and overwhelmed. But however, the solution is definitely to continue sensitizing, because amidst all of those, we must learn to live while fighting against this pandemic because life matters. Thank you, Cricket. Derek from Gargamel, from Makindye, Luwafu, and for your submission towards our poll question. Keep them coming in. We'll be sharing with you. Well, as we try to conclude this one, I must say that the duties of a teacher are neither few nor little, okay? They build and elevate the mind and character of an individual. And this, by the way, cuts across for both sciences and for both arts teachers. So I hope and pray
you going teaching
that
to become rich.
we prioritize. We prioritize them, and we see what to do for them. But we don't mainly have to do give them ultimatums, because either way, even if we do, like Robert said, it could be a subtle silent strike. They will push them to class, and they may not yield results. So we're yet to see that. Well, that's it for our Good Morning Uganda newsreel. We'll be headed for the papers to see some of the headlines: Daily Monitor, the New Vision, and of course the Daily Nation. Traffic updates will also be coming in, and later on the weather forecast and climate news. Good morning, Uganda.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello?
Hello?
This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey, Kasozi, my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey, you don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions, and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number, and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera. Refrain from unnecessary engagement with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
The Kavaka Birthday Run 2022 is back on Sunday, 3rd July 2022 at Lubiri Mengo. This year, the run will be physical and will be flagged off by Sabasajja Kabaka at 7 a.m. Come out in large numbers once again to Lubiri Mengo. Run for a cause to fight and end AB by 2030. 30. Buy your ticket today at 15,000 Uganda shillings from Airtel shops at Tabani Center, Taxi Park, ShopRite Building, Benchwanka Street, Majestic Brands Office at Bulange Mengo. You can also buy a ticket using Airtel Money. Dial *185*5#. Select Payments, select Kabaka Run, and follow the prompts to complete the payment. Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is brought to you by UNAIDS, CBS, BBS, and Airtel, the smartphone network.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Hallelujah Jingati drink and Hallelujah Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Hallelujah Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Hallelujah from all shops around.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, this morning in the press review, we start off with the Daily Monitor, and the big headline over there, we're looking at government to teachers, teach or quit job. And of course, this is our way or the highway. Definitely, you either sail on or ship out. This is what the government has told the arts teachers who are on strike over salary increment. And we look at Museveni lifts ban on democratic governance facility. We're seeing him there with some officials that came through to have this conversation. Now, EC backs Bobby Wine in battle for Noop's soul. Quite a story that you need to catch up. It has been making rounds. And still in other stories, Ongwen parts ways with lawyer Ayena. And of course, the page 7 has the story. And still, we look at quiet streets as Kigali hosts Chogam. And Kenya's tax on Ugandan eggs kicks up uproar with infertile couples turn to IVF in babies search. All that in the Daily Monitor this morning, and also how government plans to avoid expiry of vaccines and food crisis pounds Tesol sub-region. So make sure you grab yourself the Daily Monitor this morning to catch up on the stories. Now on the second page, taking you back in history, today King Mutesa arrives in Britain for exile 1966, but the same date. And also in history, mafia boss Gotti sentenced to life. This was back in 1992.
And in the New Vision for this morning, government orders teachers to resume work. All that is detailed on page 4 of the New Vision. But also the big headline right there, Museveni lifts ban on shillings 500 billion donor funding. And the Human Rights Commission NGOs welcome the move. That is more on page 7 of the New Vision. Now in the New Vision series, a journalist narrates a 360-kilometer walk to Namugongo. That is page 40 and 41 of the New Vision. Across the land, government gets shillings 49 billion for reforms to Milo land tenure. That is, of course, on page 5 of the New Vision for this morning. Now they give you a big picture right there as Museveni meets Danish envoy investors. And also right there they give you that was at the State House Nakasero in Kampala yesterday. And crossing over in crime, ADF suspect arrested in Buloba. That is on page 3 of the New Vision. Across court, Uganda Airlines boss charged. That is on page 9 of the New Vision. As the party fight as well, nope, not yours. EC tells Chibalama. Now details are on page 8 of the New Vision. And across the second page, they give you a picture right there with NIRA asking Ugandans to apply, renew IDs as officials call on Mengo. They also give you a picture of Katikiro right there as he was interacting with the National Identification and Registration Authority's executive. 7 agriculture investors win shillings 1.3 billion grant. Well, that is good news over there. But also today in history, back in 1994, Museveni given honorary degree. And of course, that is also detailed right there. But also back then in 1999, Zanzibar opposition returns. That is today in history for you right there.
Now in the Daily Monitor Sports, Nabumba sets tone for Lutalo's Plan B. And we look at ex-baseball ace Ashalam has no room for pressure. Silverbacks step up preps. Now this is of course in basketball. Silverbacks captain Jimmy Enabo believes preparations for the 2023 FIBA World Cup qualifiers are already on track. 38 is the page that you can catch up on that story. And we're looking at the crested cranes, all very, very smart over there. Why, how, where they headed to? You make sure that you catch up on these and see what's happening over there in the Daily Monitor Sports.
And in the New Vision Sport, carrying Uganda's dreams, of course, we're talking about Women's African Cup of Nations. That is from the goalkeeper Vanessa Karungi, and a lot that she's talking about, but also as we look at the challenges in League B when they take on Hong Kong at Chambogo today, the Caribbean nation, and of course to the World Cup before they clearly know what is in store there. That you can get more details in the New Vision for today. But inside also time for skating. Now that is more detailed on how the sport is being carried out, what is done, and how far is Uganda willing to go. That is inside the New Vision Sport for today. Sundowners hail KCCA's effort. They give you a picture of the Kampala Road Mayor right there with some of the officials from the Sundowners. Our minds are on the Olympics. That is also in the New Vision Sport for today.
Well, when it comes to the Daily Nation over there, gangster or gun dealer, Crime Watch, an ordinary swoop by auctioneers to attach the property of a city businessman over office rent areas running into millions, unearthed a cache of guns and bullets are piling up. So yes, it's happening over there. Now, Ruto's grand schools plan. What plan does this gentleman have? Well, you need to get yourself the Daily Nation to catch up on this. Now, inside Raila's strategy to win House majority, and it's a detailed story over there. You can catch it on page 4 of the Daily Nation this morning. So why not grab it this morning and see where you're headed for, especially when we are looking at Decision 2022 for our Kenyan counterparts, where we're supposed to have their, or they're supposed to have their next president just a few minutes or a few days from now. We are officially on a countdown. Less than 70 days is what we are looking at. Well, and this morning, I want to focus on areas that are coming in from Nakawa, if you're coming in from Chireka, if you're coming in from Bweyogere, as you're headed to the city center for our traffic updates. And I must say that right from Chireka shopping center, it's very, very busy this morning. The stretches are really long, especially stretches that have something to do with traffic. They are all painted in red, literally, as very evident here. Now, Chireka Road, of course, that also connects you to the same main road here. There's some traffic build-ups here and there, but of course, when you get to the main road, you need to expect quite some heavy traffic. However, the stretch from Chireka as you're headed to Banda Taxi stage, it should be quite, a smooth ride for you because the green stretch is very evident over there and it's quite long. However, when you get to Banda, the story is not the same. We have a traffic build-up in some spots spots on this same road, but also some heavy traffic over there. So while you're headed there, you need to plan accordingly, or you need to know that. However, as you're trying to connect from Banda to Chambogo, I must say that it's a smooth ride. The green lines are making it possible for you to know that you could easily navigate on this road as you're headed towards Nakawa. Of course, there are certain traffic build-ups over here, and over here the orange lines show the traffic build-up, so you have nothing to worry about. But that is very it can change. Like I already said, traffic is very dynamic. A minute it's heavy, and in another it's quite free, so you need to put that into consideration. However, as you're going ahead and you're headed towards Nakawa, the traffic starts to build up, and it's not any simple kind of traffic. The stretch is really long, really long, all the way from here until the spot. You need to expect some heavy traffic. The red lines are showing that this given spot may be a little bit hard for you to navigate through, and this is for the people getting into the city center. However, if you are leaving the city center still using this same route headed towards Banda, Chireka, the traffic buildup is over there as shown by this orange line here. So you may not survive the traffic, I may say, for that very specific spot. So you need to plan accordingly. Well, as you're headed to Nakawa over here at the junction, I must say the traffic buildup is really very busy on this specific road, the Kampala-Jinja Highway. Now we have cars that are trying to connect all the way from Nakawa-Jinja Road. This is if you have used the Chinawataka route, but also we have cars coming in from Ntinda Road, Naguru, trying to join the main road over here. This is the Kampala-Jinja Highway, so the traffic build-up is definitely expected at a place like this because it's a junction, and therefore you need to start planning accordingly. However, as you're headed towards the city and getting into the heart of the city, I could say you could actually easily navigate here. Pictures are very evident. However, when you get to another bit of the city hub, I must say that the traffic is really heavy. Now this surprisingly is for the people who are trying to leave this exact area headed back, and this is something you need to start planning for. However, if you're still getting into the city center, I must say you don't have any reason to worry for. Well, when you get to Lugogo, Lugogo doesn't really look so nice this morning, I must say, and it's quite evident because we are having some heavy traffic spots over here, shown by the arrows. We have right here, we have a traffic buildup shown by the oranges. So yes, you need to also plan accordingly. This is usually quite a very busy spot because we also have cars coming in from several parts as they're trying to join the main Kampala-Jinja Highway. For the rest part of that road, it's quite an easy one for you. However, when you get to the main roundabout over here, that is where we have, of course, the Ministry of Internal Affairs. I could say it's quite messy this morning because bread is dominant, and it's not a problem, or it goes without saying. We have very many cars coming in from Wampeo, where we are having a traffic build-up. We have cars coming in from the side of Nakawa, where we are having a traffic build-up, especially for the ones getting in. However, if you're leaving, as shown by this arrow or this line, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. It's coming in from Old Port Bell Road over here. We have also traffic build-up. So yes, definitely it may be a little bit chaotic over there. Now when you are joining Jinja Road, of course, trying to make your way to Kampala Road, I must say that the traffic keeps building and it actually starts intensifying all the way, so you need to plan accordingly. If you're leaving these areas, if you're already in it, well, you may have to exercise some patience to make sure that you get to your destination safe and sound. Well, that's it from the traffic updates this morning, but also just to remind you, we have our poll question that is definitely running, and of course where we did ask you, we want to know from you what should be done to increase the number of COVID-19 vaccinations. Hashtag UBCJMU 0709602592. Well, we'll be now having more in the climate arena, more news, and of course the weather forecast, and definitely Mollen will be here to fill us in. Do not forget, we have our Women's Africa Cup of Nations that will be running live on UBC, where we inspire Uganda, so make sure you don't miss out on that as well.
Well, as the Commonwealth goes on that Chogam 2022 in Kigali, Rwanda, we do know that even the youth are putting across the same message about the urgency to talk about climate change and, of course, mostly climate action. Now we're seeing heads of state also heading for Kigali, the meeting, which among others on the agenda, scientists have put across the matter of climate change to be discussed, and one of those things that shouldn't be off the political agenda. Now we do know that the world has moved towards commitments on keeping the rise in temperatures well below 2 degrees, and the target is 1.5 degrees Celsius rise, that is by 2050. But the question is, are we going to be able to achieve this? Of course, it is possible. We still have that window. However, our actions are not reflecting on what can be done to make sure that that window doesn't close. Because what I do know is that the agreement that was made in Glasgow last year, and this was of course headed by the UK, is for the world to abolish the use of coal, the production of coal, and of course move away from use of oil and gas, that is in terms of fossil fuels. But it looks like that is not the case. Now that we have a crisis across the world with the increase in prices, it seems like it's not even a threat. People are still going to be running to the extraction of oil. And of course, that was fueled by the Russia-Ukraine war, whereby Russia, which was the biggest producer of natural gas, which is actually renewable energy, was now cut off. And now we have no supply, which prompted a lot of countries within within Europe and the US itself to go back to the production of coal. And that is where the issue is. If we want climate action, if we want to keep up with these targets, we continue spreading the gospel. Yes, I'm excited that Commonwealth at this meeting in Kigali is also targeting mostly talk about climate action, and of course it is on the agenda. However, the actions that are portrayed behind these meetings are not adding up, and this is where scientists are having an issue, because we continue to see extreme weather events on a daily, and the frequency is just too much. We have to act now, because 2030 is not very far, and 2050 is not very far as well. We need to make sure that by then we are avoiding this. Talking of extreme weather events, we did see a report that is coming through about the floods in India and of course Bangladesh. Now these have hit records as the most frequent severe weather events recently, and right now what is being reported is actually the death toll is rising, and so far we do know that most of the people have died from these floods and landslides that were triggered by the heavy showers. That is for the month of June. Now, millions of people across India and Bangladesh have been affected by these raging floods and landslides. And so far, what we do know is that more than 100 people died and the entire communities were devastated. Now, the South Asian nations, home to more than 1.3 billion people, have been particularly badly hit by these rains, and of course that is what led to the extreme weather events that have become increasingly frequent due to the climate crisis. Now in India itself, just after from the period of 14th June, we do know that at least 40 people died from these heavy rains, and of course those were triggering landslides and floods, and of course more than 5.5 million people have been affected in just that southeastern state of India. And of course what is being attributed even from the chief minister in terms of disaster and preparedness across Southeastern Asia, they are saying that this has been exaggerated by the climate crisis, because yes, they used to have flooding at this time of the year, but nothing as severe as this. And of course the frequency is what is devastating everyone. And of course, they are calling on government to work on its strategies towards curbing the crisis of climate change, but also in representation that we have across the world, because we do know that India is also party to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, which Uganda is also party to. Every year, we do have delegations of scientists and of course policymakers that go and meet. Even as we speak, we just had a delegation going for Bonn, where we did have the Bonn conference talking about climate change, and of course what we expect from COP27. Over 10 people going from each country. What they discuss, which policies they make, yes, they have to bring them back home, but are they implemented? Are we really tackling this climate crisis in a way that is moving us towards avoiding most of these severe weather events? That is the big question. But we have high anticipation that by the time we move to Egypt, that is in COP27, maybe by then we are focusing mostly on implementation, adaptation, and of course mitigation for climate change. Otherwise, there's going to be much more of these extreme weather events. And of course, now also last night we did get news of so far updates on the earthquake that is across most areas that have been affected. And we do know that so far the death toll has risen across Afghanistan, and they're talking about more than 1,000 people that have been killed from this earthquake. Now, what we do know is that this earthquake was at a magnitude of 5.9 that struck the country's eastern side, that is for Afghanistan. And the officials are actually saying that this could be rising because even some people are still covered under the mud after the earthquake, of course, triggered most property falling down on people, and of course there are still more efforts to recover some of people who could have died from this event. But so far what they're reporting is that more than 1,000 people have died and at least 1,500 injured, those who have been recovered from the eastern side of Afghanistan where the earthquake did take place. Now, this area has been known to have had an earthquake in the past, but not to this magnitude, and of course not to this number in terms of death toll rising. And we will be keeping up on that to know how far they are reporting, and of course those on ground are reporting that most of the people in the area, also there is not a lot of activities going on due to also the gas in the atmosphere, whereby visibility is also still very low. That has also declined the use of more of the recovery coming through by aircraft or anything, so that is also affecting the search and rescue operations across Afghanistan. But so far we do know that at least there are people on ground to make sure that they are trying to see to it that some people have been recovered from the area. We want to come back home here and take a look at our satellite for this morning. We want to keep a look on the weather that is happening across the country. Now, hailing from yesterday, we did have mostly dry weather for much of yesterday across the country. But again, today seems to be different. We're seeing some of the rainy systems starting to develop, especially across West Nile, already having a few showers coming through. That is across the central part of northern Uganda. Gulu right there having a little bit of those rains coming through for this morning. We do expect that to continue as the morning progresses, and that system seems to be headed towards West Nile, although much of that will be fading away later as we head towards afternoon. But we do expect most of those systems to again redevelop as the day continues. Now, we do have cloudy weather across most areas, but of course that is within with intervals of sunny conditions. Much sunshine across the Kirabo region as well as the southwestern part of the country. Lake Victoria Basin as well, having mostly a sunny morning with intervals of those cloudy conditions, but we do expect a little bit of rains to be developing also later across the southern sector. Fort Portal already developing mostly cloudy weather. We have that rainy system that is headed your way, so that could be one area to expect those rains for this morning. Looks like that is also heading westwards, but of course it might leave a little bit of spills over the area and also later as the day progresses. But let's go ahead and take a look at our forecast for this morning. Of course, that is coming in from the Uganda National Meteorological Authority. We will start it off with the western part of Lake Victoria. That is where we have Masaka, Kalisizo, Sembabule and Rakai. We're forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, starting off with a warm 27. We take a look at southwestern Uganda, where we are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine as well, and also temperatures will be starting off warm at 27 degrees centigrade. Across Mount Elgon Highlands, we are forecasting sunny intervals as well, and temperatures are starting off with quite a hot 27 degrees centigrade. We do expect a little bit of rains over that area later as the day progresses. Now, across the eastern part of Lake Victoria, that is where we have Tororo, Busia, Iganga and Jinja. We're forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, starting off with quite a hot 28. And across eastern Uganda, that is where we have Soroti, Katakwi, Moria and Kumi, we already see clouds starting to drop over that area, and that is what will be bringing in a little bit of those rains throughout several places. That is also starting off with quite a warm 27 degrees centigrade. Across the eastern parts of Central, still continuing with that mix of clouds and sunshine, basically a repeat of yesterday, because even temperatures are expected to be at quite a warm 27 degrees centigrade. Across the central parts of northern Uganda, we already see those rains coming through even as we speak. Now that is expected to continue across the area for the rest of the morning, starting off with quite a warm 28 degrees centigrade, and that system is also expected to cross over into the afternoon. So those are the ones to look out for in terms of wet weather conditions. Now the central parts of Lake Victoria, where we have Mukono, Kampala, Interior and Wakiso, we are forecasting quite isolated showers. Those will be starting off with a pleasant 26 degrees centigrade. That system is expected to cross over into the afternoon across several places. Well, it looks like generally the southern sector is expected to be mostly active later in the afternoon, but for now we're dealing with rainy conditions, especially towards the parts of central northern Uganda as well as West Nile, and that system is likely to also affect the western stretch of the country, so that is where we do expect more rains to come through. And in terms of temperatures, looks like we're warming up swiftly, most areas actually in the upper 20s, even as we speak about the maximum temperatures for later in the afternoon, so you can count on that. Only all those areas within the southwestern part of the country are expected to be at least within the lower 20s, but otherwise the rest of the country seems to be warming up with temperatures going to upper 20s as well as lower 30s as we head towards afternoon. Well, that is it in terms of weather. We do have Good Morning Uganda agenda coming up, and also later we'll be having sports highlights. Don't forget that we are streaming live on YouTube, that is UBC Television Uganda, but also on our social media platforms. You can catch us up, and the hashtag is UBCGMU. Well, my name is Mollen, Kenyena, wishing you a wonderful morning.
This is Good Morning Uganda. Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by Simply deposit 20k or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
Welcome to English in a Minute from home. If someone told you to get out of town, would you really have to go anywhere?
Anna, I know we've both always lived in apartments, but last week, I finally bought a house.
Get out of town, you didn't.
I sure did. And it's right down the street from my favorite pizza restaurant.
Oh, pizza. Maybe I should think about buying a house.
You can say, get out of town, when you're surprised or find it hard to believe something someone said. It has the same meaning as phrases like, get out of here, you're kidding, or no way. And that's English in a Minute.
The Kavaka Birthday Run 2022 is back on Sunday, 3rd July 2022 at Lubiri Mengo. This year, the run will be physical and will be flagged off by Sabasajja Kabaka at 7 a.m. Come out in large numbers once again to Lubiri Mengo. Run for a cause to fight and end HIV by 2030. Buy your ticket today at 15,000 Uganda shillings from Airtel shops at Tobani Center, New Taxi Park, ShopRite Building, Benchwanka Street, Majestic Brands Office, at Bulange Mengo. You can also buy your ticket using Airtel Money. Dial *185*5#. Select Payments, select Kabaka Run, and follow the prompts to complete the payment. Kabaka Birthday Run 2022 is brought to you by UNAID, CBS, BBS, and Airtel, the smartphone network.
Affordable packages, great entertainment,
Sports, the local content, telenovela, the movies.
There is something for everybody.
Go TV, this is where great stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Ugandan shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidi Wano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Welcome to English in a Minute from home. If someone told you to get out of town, would you really have to go anywhere?
Anna, I know we've both always lived in apartments, but last week, I finally bought a house.
Get out of town, you didn't.
I sure did. And it's right down the street from my favorite pizza restaurant.
Oh, pizza. Maybe I should think about buying a house.
You can say, get out of town, when you're surprised or find it hard to believe something someone said. It has the same meaning as phrases like, get out of here, you're kidding, or no way. And that's English in a Minute.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you for keeping it with us on UBC TV. It is exactly just 5 minutes past the top of the hour, which is 8. I hope you're on way to work or you've reached your destination. But don't forget, you can catch up with us at any time through our YouTube channel. So you do not miss, you can forward, you can rewind, you can watch this show at your own convenience. But we begin at 6:30 till the hour of 9. It is Good Morning Uganda, your everyday current affairs show with a few light moments, but also very relevant topical discussion. So now this morning, we are going to be discussing the role of community in fighting crime. Many times, people in security tell us we are the first line of security. That before you look for a police officer, an army officer, security personnel, you're the first line of duty in terms of protecting yourself. And many times they'll tell you this would have been averted if the community did this. This would have been, we could eliminate this crime in just a blink of an eye if the community cooperates with us. Now we want to understand what is the role of the community. What is your individual responsibility as far as fighting crime is concerned? Today we are seeing crime cropping out in a number of places. This time people are waylaid by people in military uniform. Tomorrow there is a burglary. There are all forms of theft. Some groups are also cropping up. And joining me on set is a person who bridges the gap between police and the community. That is the Community Liaisons Officer, Katwe Police Division, Nathan Katumba. You're most welcome to our studios.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad to be here. ASP Nathan Katumba is my name. I'm the Community Liaisons Officer of Katwe Police Division.
Now, Nathan, let's begin by understanding when we talk about community having a responsibility. In many areas, when a crime is committed, I hear them ask this question: where was police? When they arrest a thief, we call them, they arrive on spot. When you tell them there's someone going to demonstrate, they arrive on spot. But people are beating, manhandling others, and police is nowhere. So let's begin by understanding, does the community have any role that we can hold them accountable? Like we say police was negligent, maybe someone neglected duty. Do we have that?
Yeah, absolutely. The community, the police is accountable to the community. It is first the community, then the police. So where the community does not exist, that means police does not have work. Yes, and the community are the majority. So if we have the majority and crime surfaces in the majority, that means the majority can help police to see that we fight crime. Yes, the many, it is the many against the law enforcers who are few. But the law enforcers are supposed to enforce that crime reduces in the community. And the community has the many. Yes? And not everyone in the community is a criminal. So there are a few individuals who are criminals. Yes? But the community has a variety of people whom we can work hand in hand to see that we finish the crime in the what? In the community. That is the essence. Yes? Now, if the community does not pay attention to helping police to fight crime, and yet they are the majority, and yet criminals are in the community, yes, that means automatically police will fail. Because police, when you look at the numbers, 1 to something is a lot. Yes, there are very many people against a single police officer.
Because when you look at the policing standards, the international, it should be 1 to every 500 people.
Exactly.
That is the ratio. When we come to Uganda, I think the last time I followed, was it about 1 police officer per 1,000 people?
Exactly.
I don't know if these have been improved. So automatically it means you're few, we are many.
Yes.
Now, what are those roles in fighting crime that the community must perform?
Thank you. The community has to give out information to the right source. Because there is giving information and you give it to the wrong source. But giving information to the right source. Yes? The community has a responsibility of seeing to it that their community is safe. They have to cooperate with the police to see that the community is what? That the community is safe. That is, that to some extent, it is even the first submission I made of cooperating with police to see that we reduce what? We reduce crime. We know when we focus mostly on police officers, and we give them that go ahead of seeing to it that crime is reduced at their own cost, at their own time, it may be difficult to achieve. So community members out there, at their own time, they have to give police information at their own time. Yes, because crime is diverse. You will not tell me that at a specific time when a police officer is there in the community, that is when crime will happen. These criminals are wise. They even know that police has come. Police is going to be for patrol in our village up to like 2. Yes. So when police leaves, that is when they come in.
Yes. The community will tell you, why have they come after police has left?
Exactly. Yes. So sometimes we study crime statistics in an area and what time crime is committed. Then we see how to orient our officers. In line with crime time. Yes. So when we focus in a community, and we get to know what time crime is committed, then we tell our OCs to try to adjust to the recommended time of crime.
Okay, now you've mentioned a key word here in fighting crime, which is giving information to the right people. I want to believe if I see anyone smartly dressed with or without pimps in a police uniform having a national flag, I consider this person as one I would give information. So who are the right people in police that we should give information?
The right people, like let me take an example of a police station. A police station like Makinde. We have a crime intelligence officer, yes, on the desk. That is why when you come and you want to give us information, the OC responsible calls the crime intelligence officer, who puts on he puts on normal clothes, not uniform, and he gets that information. A crime intelligence officer is trained. He's trained to keep information. He's trained to see how to dispatch information to the right source. If the crime intelligence officer is not there, you can give that information to the OC, officer in charge. But where we go wrong, you come, you get a boy who is guarding, yes, anyhow. At the end of the day, you may find when that information is not so safe with him, but it would have been safe with the OC or the crime intelligence officers. And we've made sure that at least at each and every station we put a crime intelligence officer who is ready to get information, who is ready to gather information and see how we can dispatch it to the right source.
Okay. Yes. Now this brings in issues of trust. This brings in issues of confidentiality. As police, I wouldn't want to say your image has dwindled over a time, because I've come across very many good police officers.
Yeah, true.
Mostly when we begin with higher ranks. Below, there is a problem. I don't know why. But how then have you sold right your image to the public? They have confidence in you that a person would walk to a police station to give information. I remember I've been part of community policing, but this is what they usually do. They tell people, write on a sheet of paper, you know, you don't put your name, then someone comes collecting these papers. So you're able to know who they may ask, who do you suspect to be thieves in this village? And that works. But you see someone is doing it because he knows they won't know who they are. So I don't know how many Ugandans would willingly move into a police post. Stations are bigger, but maybe police post. And say, who is the crime intelligence officer, have information to give. Let's look at your image, where many of these people, I think over a time, see police as those hunting them instead of protecting them.
Thank you, moderator. I'm sure the majority of people out there, they know that at each and every police station or police post, there is an OC. Yes? An OC equally has the responsibility of gathering information to see how we can implement maybe an operation at the right time, because he's the officer in charge of the station. So when he gets information, he's the one to scrutinize the information and see how and he sees how to implement operations in his area of dominance. Now you may not be well versed with crime intelligence officers. Yes, go and give information to the OC. Yes, go and give information to the OC. Community out there, you have a responsibility to see that you reduce crime in your area with the help of police. Are we getting it? So if you have that responsibility, it is upon you, it is incumbent to you to see that you cooperate with police to reduce crime in your area. When you reduce crime in your area, the fruits are high in your area. That means you can, when you've delayed somewhere, you can come and you know you'll be safe in your what? The more you give information, The more we arrest the culprits and we apprehend them, the more the area becomes safe. Because the thieves out there will know that this area is not safe to stay in. Anytime they will arrest us, yes? They may not know where information comes, but for them they will see every time police is there. Every time police is called, police is informed is there. So they will be like, I think this police knows that we are operating in this area. That is the only magic behind it. Otherwise, when we leave it at police itself, yes, when we leave it at police itself, the police officers out there in our stations and posts, they are few. Yes, they are few. You'll find the police has like 4 or 5 with a village of like 500 people. So at the end of the day, when you compute the 500 and the 4, it does not make sense. So we have a duty as the community, yes. By the way, when we talk about crime intelligence, when we talk about intelligence, we are all intelligence officers, irrespective of whether you're a civilian or not, because it is intelligence. Who is supposed to give out intelligence? When a civilian calls the police and says there's an accident here, you have given us what? Information. Yes? So after giving us information, automatically you have become in a local man's language, you've oriented yourself to being a crime intelligence officer, but in civilian.
Now, let's look at some of the demotivators of the public working with police. One has been receiving information, and then you take long to respond. And sometimes they question, when does police treat some matters urgent, and when does it look at others, maybe they take long. One, usually they'll tell you, call police and tell them that, well, there's a housebreaking happening. There's this common, I don't know if it's a joke or it's real, where they will tell you that they will ask you, where are you, how many are they, do they have guns, which type of guns, and all that. Then they will tell you, let police know that there's a politician going to carry out an activity. Or tell police that, well, community is carrying out mob justice on a suspected thief. They say these 2 incidents, police is quick, fast to save. But in these incidents, police is slow. They may even come the following day when a burglary had happened, when you've reported. So they look at your response as a demotivator to cooperation with you. Second, the issue of trust. Many will tell you, well, you give a police officer information, the person comes to you the following day and says, hello, leave us alone. So people wonder, but I went to police. Third, people either do not understand how the law works and how police works, or police is taking advantage of the gaps in the law to taint its image. What am I referring to? That people will tell you, even when we report these people to police, they are simply picked, then released. They'll tell you, report someone, then before you get home, they're already there on a border. These incidents, in one or the other, I think we need explanation for the public to know why this is happening this way. Or if the illegalities, let's also understand.
Thank you. There is what we call organized crime. When someone is going out there to demonstrate, you all know they usually put it public. They go on social media and say, on this day, at this time, I'll be on the road. Yes? So when they alter their, when they package their criminal acts in line with being organized and informing the public, the police is in the public. So we get to know so fast. So when we get to know so fast, and these social disorders can disorganize traffic jam. Yes, we get issues of looting. Yes, we can get issues of shop breaking. So we come in so fast to prevent the next crime. Yes, because it involves big masses of people who will demonstrate, and the traffic will slow, or the traffic will stop. So in the process of the traffic slowing, you may find when there is an ambulance that is taking someone who is ill to hospital. Because of that, you will find when we've lost a life in those things. Yes? That is why when they organize themselves, we organize ourselves to come and stop them, or to come.
Then people wonder, where have all these been?
Yes, to come and pick them. That is organized crime.
Okay.
Now, there is this other side of crime that is, even mob justice is organized. Because when a thief when a thief is arrested by the community members, they begin beating. So in the process of beginning beating, remember there are vehicles that are passing and they are seeing the incident. So those some vehicles that are passing and seeing the incidents, yes, are the ones who will call. And when they call, usually mob justice in most cases, where even we react so fast, usually during day, because it will involve a lot of people seeing, a lot of people doing one, so they call. Yes. Then the incident where you said that when someone brings someone to police, by the way, this other incident where you say that that police will ask
delayed
you,
response,
that police will ask you how many guns, how many what. Yes, those are old stories. They are not in existence now. Maybe they were those days, but according to the professionalism that police officers are trained now, there is no OC who will ask you how many guns.
How many are they?
No, they will not ask you how many guns. We have questions that we usually ask wananchi. Which place is that? Where has crime been committed? Where are you? Where are you? I found I'm here and here and here. It is okay. We don't ask a lot of questions when we are responding to crime. We don't ask a lot of questions. We ask you, where are you? Because location is most important. You're not going to call me and I begin scattering around. I need to know where you are, so that I can, if it's not possible and it's not me the OC there, I can call the OC to come very fast where you are. Yes, that is mostly the question we ask. Where are you? Which area is that? So if asking the area is a problem, then that one we should know it now.
Then locating would not be any possible.
Exactly. Yeah. Then where we say that someone has come to police, you've reported someone police, then someone leaves you at police, giving a bond is at the discretion of the OCCID.
Why does it?
In most cases,
some cases it is very hard. So I found here. Let's understand each other properly. I've had incidents where I've tried to secure a police bond for people, and it is made very hard to get. I've had incidents where I'm on the side of the victim, and bond is very quick to get, and even the officer who tells you, the police officer, you see, this is a right now. You know, I've had someone telling me, at least let's wait for 48 hours to expire. Wait. Yes, it is a constitutional right, but after 48 hours. But I've had incidents where the suspect has only 1 hour, 2 or 3 hours, and then, no, I have to give him police bond as we're investigating. So, this discretion, I mean, I'm looking at the rationale. And sometimes that's where people think, maybe it is money. You know, someone threatens violence and then this, now go. Some of these things, we don't understand them properly.
Yeah, that is why I'm saying bond is given at the discretion of the OCCID.
Should it be given after 48 hours have expired or even before?
Bond is supposed to be given at the disgrace. I think I'm using my words right. If the OCCID thinks wise, that he gives you bond after 48 hours, then that is it. If the OCCID thinks wise to give you bond after 1 hour, because he's the in charge, he's the in charge CID crime, and he's the one, he or she is the one who knows When I give, what circumstance am I going to what are the ingredients that are based on to give this person bond? There are people who come and report. Yes, you come and report a suspect. Immediately, you get a reference. You go out there at the gate and you get an officer. And you arrest someone in the village. You arrest someone, you bring him in cells. Yes, the following day, we realize that a police file has only a statement of the suspect, has only a statement of the suspect. You, the complainant, you have even gone and you've not even recorded a statement.
And it's there jubilating. Hey, I arrested this person, he was joking with me.
OCCID goes on suspect parade. Yes? They see files and that file has only a statement of the suspect. Even the complainant did not record a statement. After arresting someone with first information in the SD, he ran because usually what people want in the community out there is reference. Is reference. When he gets a reference, sees that he has got it all. Now that is the problem. After getting the reference, he looks for a police officer to go and arrest. When they bring a suspect, they will record his statement, but the statement of the complainant is not there. So when OCCID reaches suspect parade in the morning, they realize that the complainant's statement is not what? Is not there. You call the complainant to come, but usually what they do, when you call him to come, he thinks that you are calling him to talk to him that you are going to give this one bond. He'll tell your friend I will come. That complainant comes the following day in the morning, yet they have called him this other day in the morning.
I'm very far. Usually they have that.
I'm very far.
I've gone to the village.
Wait, my what? At the end of the day, it will come like to 2. OCCID will give that person bond. Then tomorrow you will come and say, why did they give bond when I'm not there? What? You are not supposed to be there when they are giving bond. It is courtesy from a police officer to inform you, because bond is a constitutional right. It is not a must that you have to be present to give a suspect bond. No.
Thank you for clarifying on these issues,
yes.
Afande Katumba, because some police officers have been taking ignorance over people to manipulate them. One says, I can't give you bond when the complainant is not around.
No, that's not there.
He went very far, we have to wait.
It is just courtesy. On humanitarian ground, to call the complainant and you inform him that your issue, we are giving this one bond, they are standing for him, he will come back like in a week or 3 days. Just courtesy on humanitarian ground, not the other person to look at police in a harsh way. But the challenge is,
and say, no, me have said don't release him.
No, it is not in order. It is not there. It is not applicable according to the procedures of giving bond. You are not supposed to, it is not a must that a complainant is the one supposed to tell you either give or not. No. Yes. And where we have cases where you see the OCCID tries to close his eye and says no, let the suspect be in cells. Yes, you may find when releasing the suspect may jeopardize investigations out there. You may find when there is someone out there whom police needs to arrest in line with that. You may find when the person out there is supposed to be arrested so that you can be free. That I got this phone, I bought it from Isma. So we need first to arrest Isma to see that for you we give you bond. We can get a witness statement from you linking him to crime. So when we release you before getting Isma, we are jeopardizing investigations. So at the end of the day we shall fail. So after arresting Isma, that is when we can see how we can give you bond and you what? And you go.
Because you are also found in possession of stolen property.
Exactly. We can charge you possession of you. We can charge you of receiving and retaining. Yes, but sometimes it is at the disgrace of state, when the file has gone to state, to see whether that charge of receiving and retaining can stand or not. So we can charge you that, but when you go to state, state will say, no, let him be a witness to the other one. Because state is the one who knows that maybe if we make this one a witness, we can implicate the other one and he goes to prison. Because where you may say, charge him of receiving and retaining, then at the end of the day, the evidence might not be so sufficient to pin the first one. So it may jeopardize investigation. So it is at the discretion of state to see how we can charge anyone at his own discretion.
Well, viewer, we are still looking at the role of community in fighting crime. You're the first line of security, and police cannot work in isolation of the community. They need that information. That's why many times you hear them say this is an intelligence-led operation, meaning they are coming on information, they have the facts, they'll pick these people, take them. But also, let's look at police involvement with the community. The community is mandated to give information. But let's also understand, previously I used to see a lot of deployments. And one of the things I always ask myself, where are these police officers that were so many during COVID-19? Have they gotten other jobs? You know, you would move around, it was very common to find police officers, either in these trading centers, moving in many of these routes around, you know, because visibility is one of the ways of fighting crime. Today, you're so thin on the ground. What happened?
Our police officers are there, but that is why I'll go back to my last submission of saying emphasizing organized crime. When we had COVID-19, we had many people who were moving at a specific time, where we got to know that at this time people are going to move. So it will be easy for us to get the officers, the ones who are supposed to be deployed at night, yes, and we organize them and we see how to implement these operations of COVID-19. Yes. Apparently now, because of the reduction of the disease, which I even got to know that it has again increased. That's why I take this opportunity to urge people out there. Yes, let's go back to our old system of preventing COVID. Let's put on the masks. Yes, let's wash our hands because COVID has come back. We had that organized crime. So when you get organized crime, we would source manpower, even the one that works at night, to come and see how we can implement during the day. That is why you used to see very many officers during the day. Right now, because of...
Even at night. Even at night, you would drive from your home, maybe you're going to hospital, you'd find police officers stopping you here and there.
Exactly. That is...
Do the same, you freely move.
In line with you know, there are various deployments, like traffic. You'd get them on the road so much, yes? But those officers have been sourced from somewhere to come where? To come and beef up security there. Because of the issues of, you know, there was restrictions in who is to drive, who is not to drive, yes? So would source manpower from other departments to see that what?
This is enforced.
Would equally deploy even CIDs. They would put them on the program. The CIDs, the ones who work during the day only. By that time would source them and even they work at night. Because of the urgency of the pandemic that was there. Yes. Would brief them and reorient them for night. And they would cope up. Yes.
Finally, before I get your final remarks, as we look at the role of community in fighting crime, the issue of corruption extortion is one of the areas that the public feels we need to do away with if we are to build this strong relationship of giving information, of easing the work for police rather than saying, let's go camp, investigate, people give you information. We must do away with the element. When I look at a number of reports, police stops human rights abuse. Recently we saw the report from the Uganda Human Rights Commission, and it was police was toppling this. One would say because you're regular with the public and all that. But even when we look at reports regarding corruption, police still is topping. It's the giant here. How are you going to handle this? Because we need a fertile environment for this good relationship for us to fight crime.
Thank you. I want to inform people out there that corruption is broad. Corruption is broad. You listen. Corruption is broad. When we talk about corruption, I know for you are diverting to only monetary what? Terms. Corruption is broad. The way you receive someone, the way you answer someone, yes, the way someone comes and police and you gives him that listening or not. Yes, that one they are embracing it all to corruption. Are you getting it?
Okay.
I will not say it's not there. It is there. But what is the origin of corruption? The origin of corruption. In most cases, the origin of corruption is from a civilian out there. When you put it in the police officer,
in his mind,
that you don't have time, that you want quick services,
you want to dodge the law.
You are tuning his brain to give you a shortcut. Yes,
I get it.
When they arrest you and you're drunk and you're driving, and the police officer wants to give you a receipt, then you tell the police officer, because the receipt is giving you is like 120, and you get 20,000 and you give a police officer. To your own understanding, he has helped you to reduce the other tax that he was going to give you. But when we come out to the police officer, he's committing a crime. Equally, you giving in to a police officer, you are committing a crime. So we shall charge you plus the officer of being corrupt. What can I tell the public out there? The only way we are going to fight and reduce this corruption, yes, let us deal with the right people. There is a DPC of the station. You've equally called me sometimes when someone has disorganized you on the road and they are asking for money. When I help you and see how you can get justice, have you ever given me money?
That's why I told you that.
Exactly. That is
I don't know how you're going to deal with the lower ranks. A person stops you and says,
exactly.
Park there.
That is what, and when these operations are there, I want you to look so well. There is someone who is in charge. There is someone who is heading that operation. There is someone who is heading that operation. When your vehicle has been impounded or your motorcycle has been impounded, you go to the right person and you tell him the reason why you are late. Yes? Don't go at the police counter and you begin telling someone, Afande, if this case cannot be reported here, and maybe you are sending me to the other area, the other area because the case is supposed to be in Kabalagala. For you are fighting hard that they register the case at Katwe. The CID is telling you that that case is not it is not in our area of jurisdiction. You have to report the case in the area where the crime was committed. For quick investigations, for you insist and you say, Fandi, let me give you 10,000, you put the case here. You will find when that officer at that time was not even having transport to go back home. At that time he was not having 5,000. It will say, okay, he has received the bribe and he has even done the wrong thing. He has even put a case where it's not supposed to be. He has registered a civil case in a criminal book. Because police deals with only a criminal matter.
Cases, yes.
But he enters a civil case where tomorrow they will investigate, the file will go to state, and the state will be so easy and will tell you it is a civil matter. Please go civil. You waste all your time that you are recording statements, the file goes to state, then state puts only 2 words. This is a civil matter. Please go civil. Yet you are supposed to, the police officer was supposed to direct you to go to court, and you see how you can put in your case in court. So you waste a lot of time at police, then tomorrow you complain that police did not help me. We have civil matters, we have criminal matters. When any issue is a civil matter, I sold to this person my vehicle, he has not completed the balance, what? Just go direct to court. Don't waste time to come to police.
Well, in the interest of time, Afande Katumba, let me have your final remarks to the public there in regards to fighting crime.
Thank you so much. The public out there, you are the eyes of police. You are the ears of police. Please help police to see through you. Help police to hear through you. When we see through you and we hear through you, we shall see how to reduce crime in our villages. When you give out information and you see that police, the person you have given information, is not reacting, we have an OC station, we have a DPC of the district. You come. No one is going to stop you from entering DPC's office. You can come at any time. You give information to the DPC will implement that information very fast, because it is part of his work to see that we reduce crime in the area. I thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Afande Katumba Nathan, who is the Community Liaisons Officer, Katwe Police Division. Thank you for your time, and of course those words of advice. Well, police cannot work in isolation. They need us to be their ears, to be their eyes, so that they can effectively, and I want to use the word effectively, reduce crime. There's nothing that simplifies the police like working on intelligence-led information. That is when they will not arrest people that are innocent, because they will know who the victims, who the culprits are, and you have given them right information. But also to the police, it takes two to tango. How do we improve our image to make it easy for the public to freely and easily work with us in the quest for pushing for a crime-free society? God bless you. Don't forget to go for vaccination in case you've not. And if you're above 50, go and get that booster dose. See you tomorrow, same time.
Affordable packages, great entertainment,
sports, the local content, telenovela, the movies.
There is something for everybody.
Everybody, Go TV. This is where our great stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Ugandan shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
It's no secret that
Now, these have hit records as the most frequent severe weather events recently. And right now, what is being reported is actually the death toll is rising. And so far, we do know that most of the people have died from these floods and landslides that were triggered by the heavy showers. That is for the month of June. Now, millions of people across India and Bangladesh have been affected by these raging floods and landslides. And so far, what we do know is that more than 100 people died and the entire communities were devastated. Now, the South Asian nations, home to more than 1.3 billion people, have been particularly badly hit by these rains. And of course, that is what led to the extreme weather events that have become increasingly frequent due to the climate crisis. Now, in India itself, just after, from the period of 14th June, we do know that at least 40 people died from these heavy rains, and of course those were triggering landslides and floods. And of course more than more than 5.5 million people have been affected in just that southeastern state of India. And of course, what is being attributed even from the chief minister in terms of disaster and preparedness across southeastern Asia, they are saying that this has been exaggerated by the climate crisis, because yes, they used to have flooding at this time of the year, but nothing as severe as this. And of course the frequency is what is devastating everyone. And of course, they are calling on government to work on its strategies towards curbing the crisis of climate change, but also in representation that we have across the world, because we do know that India is also party to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, which Uganda is also party to. Every year, we do have delegations of scientists.
In the modern game. We'll be leaving Madrid at the end of the season, and of course, but we don't know the next destination, but Gareth Bale will be leaving Real Madrid. My name is Ruben MP Machibiyang. I'm glad and happy to be here this morning. Of course, today is a special day for Rona Maweje. Rona Maweje works for MultiChoice. She's somebody who, whenever I have issues with my DSTV, I always call her to send me engineers to rectify the problem. So her birthday is today. I want to wish her a happy birthday. That is Rona Maweje. I don't know how old she actually makes. I don't know. Anyone will be telling me how old she is. But happy birthday to you, Rona. Many more returns. Of course, I know that you are aging gracefully. May the new age come with a lot good health. I won't talk about money because I know you have enough in your tank or in your coffers. I'll talk about good health, and of course I want to thank you for that beautiful heart. Happy birthday to you, and may you live to blow. Okay, may you live to see the second coming of Jesus Christ our Lord. That is, if you live to see that happen. Maybe you will see that in eternity. Maybe you will see that when you are still around. But from us, the sports team, we wish you a happy birthday, and please enjoy your day. That is Rona Maweje from MultiChoice. Away from the birthday greetings, let's come back home and talk about sport. Now, I want to put this debate to rest. I've always had many messages talking about basketball, local basketball in this country, and I'll be very, very honest with whoever wants to hear, whoever is watching TV. Yes, I've been part of the basketball fraternity for quite some time. I can speak with authority and with facts. There are so many messages. The last message I got was from Frank, who says that, Ruben, I want to understand, we have had so many issues debating about these two teams, and as a student then at UCU, I want to know if we didn't have the best team that season. There's a difference between Frank, between having the best team and the winning team. You can assemble the best team, and the best team might not win. And you can you can assemble individuals and they fail to win, but you can assemble a team and it wins for you. Now he wants me to compare the team of 2015 of the Oilers and the team of UCU Cannons. I'll be very honest with you. On paper, I think the Cannons assembled the best team at that time. By that time, the team that had Stephen Wundi as a backup player, Brian Namake, who hardly gathered look into the team, then Desmond Owili, Innocent Oduol. But they had Jonathan Egau, Yahya Kaliesobola, Joseph Wacha. They had Wal Madoy, who was also good that time. Sunday Okote was the captain then. Desmond Owili, Ivan Lumanyika, Patrick Habielemie as well. And then they had Francis Ogola, Martin Okwako, Sunday Pippen Okot. They had Boniface Okello and Joseph Chuma. They even had Fadil Chuma, if that my memory is right. So the Oilers team that they lost to in 2015 had three small men who for me were so key in that game. They had Jimmy Enabu, they had Ben Komakech, they had Jeff Omondi. Yes, actually it's Geoffrey, but he was called him Jeff Jeff Omondi. Those three small men were a problem to whoever wanted, whoever watched. I remember talking to Brian Tuka one time when we were watching the final. Actually, it was game 6, and he said that. UCU have assembled a team that no any other university could ever have dreamt of, but they couldn't beat the Oilers. The Oilers had a big man in Kami Kabange, who for me was the best shooter in the league. I mean, his presence in the paint, his size, even the experience gave him that extra edge ahead of other players. So the Oilers had Jimmy Nabu, had Daniel and Naja Juko, they had Kami, they had Jonah Otim, they got from Deja Angels. They had James Okello, Tony Drileba, Ben Komakech, Kami Kabange. Okay, talking about Kami. They had Samuel Karwanyi. They had Jeff Omondi. They had Andrew Mabenz Opio. Now that was the team. But the starting 5 had Kami, had Koma. They had Jeff, they had, because I remember the 3. When actually in game 7, Koma was injured when they played towards the first quarter final. So he had that hurting knee. But he came in the final, and game 7, where I thought that UCU had really taken them to the final minutes of the game 7. In comes manager calls on Koma to get onto the court, and everything changed when Koma got on. He got the points the Oilers wanted, and you lost it. You know, with basketball, once you do not focus, there is no way. If you concede certain points against the team as organized as the Oilers, you cannot recover. But for me, the best team on paper, UCU had one of the best teams on paper. But in terms of delivering, in terms of efficiency, in terms of playing business, for me the Oilers were playing business. They knew what to do in game 7. So what I can talk about the UCU team, and I'll tell you frank, as I put this debate to bed, the Cannons assembled the best team as far as the Cannons are concerned. In their history, they have never had a starting 5 that had Sudi Ulanga, Desmond Owili, Ivan Lumanyika, Sunday Okot, and Innocent Oduol. And the bench had Brian Namake, Jonathan Egau, they had Joseph Chuma. So to me, Sunday Okot was the captain of that UCU team, but they had a good bench that had two experienced players in Boniface Okello and Martin Okwako, but they couldn't beat the Oilers team that was led by Kami, Jimmy Nabu, the one who saw on the screen in blue. For me, they turned on the style and Koma to show that they are the best team in the league by that time. But Desmond should have won it for the Oilers. He lost it when actually the game in the first and second and third quarter, it was tight. Now in the fourth quarter, towards the final 3 minutes, that's when the Oilers showed an extra edge ahead of UCU in terms of maturity. They knew what they wanted in that game 7, and they got it. So for me, UCU, yes, they assembled the best team by far in that season, but they lacked that extra edge of winning. I mean, the final puzzle, the final piece in the puzzle was lacking that UCU team. Yes, they had the players, but they couldn't have the final piece of the puzzle. So, and the Oilers had it. To me, the best team. Okay, individually, they had the players, but as a team, they couldn't beat the Oilers. The Oilers were far better than the Cannons. Let me hope that debate is put to bed, Frank, and let me hope it won't arise again. UCU lost to the Oilers. They assembled their best team that season, but they couldn't beat the Oilers because the Oilers played business. They knew what they wanted. They wanted the trophy, the championship, and they won it. Desmond and Ivan, the 2 big men on that court, did not deliver at full strength. They're operating at 70s and 60%. So Kami and company had the best in terms of edge to win that championship that UCU almost won. They almost won in 2015. And for me, the best of that lot was the Oilers team. That is it. And I had so many. Somebody was asking me, that was Jen, I think it was with the Frank, who said that but you can't compare Desmond and Kami. Yes, Kami was, for me, is a far better player than Desmond. Desmond had the physical presence. Desmond would, in terms of defense, would play well. But Kami could get to the points when it came to the paint and shooting and rebounding. Kami is far, far better than Desmond, really. There's no comparison there. And then, Musa says that for me, my best player in that season was Sudi. Yeah, Sudi Ulanga had a fantastic season in 2015, but that was, I think, his final season at UCU, if my memory is right. After that, he went to Power. I think this didn't work out. He went to KIU, didn't work out. Then he's back now to UCU Cannons, but he's back for studies. Maybe he will play for the basketball team. Then this one says that Musa goes ahead to say what happened to Stephen Wundi? Yeah, Stephen Wundi was a promising young lad who everybody thought that would replace Sudi when Sudi had gone in terms of shooting and leading the team in getting up the high number of points. But he didn't. The little time he spent at UCU, he wasn't as influential as he was off the bench in 2015. For me, Wundi he went to Power. Power it wasn't the best of spells at Power. That is the man Stephen Wundi who left UCU for Power, and it didn't work out well for him. But when he was on the bench for the Cannons team, he was a good player. He would get off the bench and get you 8, 10, 9 points, or even 15. But Power had their players they could rely on, from Joseph Ikong to Dura Ramadan. They one time had Norman Bleak. So Wundi was really almost out of place. And for me, the big center, Philip Amenyi, wasn't at his best to support Wundi when he left UCU for Power after finishing school. Anyway, I have got to go. I think that's I've put the debate to bed. Frank, Moses, Jane, I think I've answered you. These are UCU students who want me to compare the Cannons and the Oilers of 2015. And for me, the Cannons assembled individuals, but not a team. The Oilers had a team that played together, and that's why they won that championship. I've got to go. Have yourselves a lovely day. I'll be here tomorrow to give you more, but I'll talk about transfers and, of course, the AFCON for the ladies that will be starting on the 2nd of July in Rabat in Morocco. I'll get here and tell you the team that traveled, the Crested Cranes team that traveled to and the Shikrins that went to Morocco, and of course I will break it down. That will be tomorrow. Have yourselves a lovely day, and don't forget that we shall be here tomorrow at 6 a.m. so make a date with us. Good morning.
Affordable packages, great entertainment,
sports, local content, telenovela, the movies.
There is something for everybody.
Go TV, this is where our great stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget with Go TV.